For those struggling to pay rent, the city of Austin has a way to help make ends meet. We'll tell you how to qualify. And you've probably seen the construction out on Austin's roadways. We'll take a look at some of the major projects that are still in progress.
And today we actually got a blue day on the calendar thanks to plenty of cloud coverage, but the chance of severe weather picks up once again. I'll tell you when coming up.
And thanks so much for joining us. I'm Daniel Marin. Jennifer Sanders has the holiday off. After federal funding for the city's emergency rental assistance program ran out, the city of Austin pitched $3.6 million to keep the fiscal year the program alive. KXAN's Grace Reeder takes a look at how it's going so far.
It's called the I Belong in Austin program, and last month the city of Austin distributed roughly $260,000 in rental assistance to people who may otherwise lose housing.
Our desire is to go further upstream in helping people to prevent homelessness.
But for at least one of the people involved, it's been a whole lot more than that. The city of Austin shared a letter from that person which said, in part, quote, "I want to share what you did. I am bipolar and went without my meds for 2 weeks. I planned my end if I got evicted. My cats mean everything to me, and I'm friends with the head of a rescue who promised me they would be home together. I had a plan for them. I was going really dark.
I called so many places, one after another, no return calls. Then you called. My electricity was shut off on Tuesday. When you responded with a dollar amount, which in a million years I could not have imagined, I legitimately emailed the staff to make sure I wasn't crazy.
I have been crying tears of joy all day. This weight that felt like 10 million pounds is gone. It's hard being a single woman with no family.
You saved my life. I need you to know what you do matters. And if you're hiring, please let me know you saved me." And again, that one, we don't often get the stories, but when we do, it is heartwarming, and it's good to know that we are able to do some good for some families in Austin.
Grace Reeder, KXAN News.
So who qualifies for emergency rental help? Well, the program serves households that earn 80% median income and below, but it prioritizes those most in need. The city says most people applying earn 30% below the median family income. For a one-person household, that's about $25,000 a year. The program also prioritizes people facing eviction. And the application portal opens the 1st through the 7th of every month. If you've applied previously and not heard back, you are asked to just keep applying. We've got the details on where and how you can do that over at KXAN.com. Hey, going in depth, there are other ways to find emergency rental help. You can call 211 to learn about some other resources. United Way has a program called Connect ATX, and you can get to them by calling 211. And there are also religious organizations in Central Texas that provide rental and utilities assistance.
Now, first warning weather with meteorologist Freddie Vela.
So we have the numbers that have come in over the past 24 hours from the rainfall that we received out towards the eastern counties, because that's where we received the most amount of rainfall, and the 2 tornado warnings that had popped up last night for Fayette County. So where did we see the most amount of rainfall? Well, Muldoon. Almost 3 inches of rain there. As you look farther up, you get to Giddings, around 2 inches, close to 2.25 inches up there. Lockhart saw about ½ inch of rain. Cedar Creek, about 3/4 of an inch, almost an inch of rain as you reach farther up towards the north. Thorndale looking about ½ an inch there. So plenty of rainfall overall, and of course hail that we saw. Lots of hail signatures, especially for this one area. Hill Country, it was mostly trace or 0, which is why I didn't bother to show that right now. Cloud coverage still continues to dominate the area. That's helped keep our temperatures just a bit lower. Have a live look at our Allied Medical Emergency Room camera in Bastrop. This is the image we've seen pretty much all day long, which we're grateful because we were able to get away from all the warm temperatures. Temperatures at this point, 59 in Austin, 60 degrees in San Marcos, 61 in Fredericksburg, 58 in Georgetown, and 59 in Bastrop. Coming up in moments, we'll talk a bit more about the severe chances for tomorrow and what to expect for the weekend.
All right, Freddie, thank you very much. Those who have lived in Austin a long time or have just even driven through have seen the construction on the highways around town. Our first warning traffic anchor, Erica Brennis, has a look at some of those projects that are still in the works.
As the year comes to a close, I want to take some time and update you on a few of the significant construction projects that are underway in the Austin area. What are crews doing? How is the project coming along, and what's next? Taking a closer look in Northwest Austin, the 183 North project that's between Mopac and SH 45 Northwest. A 9-mile stretch of roadway. The Central Texas Regional Mobility Authority is constructing 2 tolled lanes and an additional free lane in each direction there along Highway 183.
This past summer, we opened the 4th general purpose lane, so we opened a lane early. We had a conversation with our contractor, incentivized them to get it done over the summer so that the school year kicked off with extra capacity out there. It's been a great boon to traffic. We've seen 10 to 20% improvements in travel times to that corridor.
CTRMA is also constructing the connecting ramps right there at Mopac and 183. So in the near future, if you want to, you're going to be able to take a toll lane from downtown Austin all the way to Cedar Park. These toll lanes, they're also going to be that variable pricing structure like the Mopac Express lane currently is. By the way, I get asked pretty frequently about the funds and the money. Where does that go that CTRMA collects? Well, they say that that is funneled back into new future projects that they are working on. The 183 North project costs $612 million. Over the next year and a half, CTRMA says you're going to be seeing more construction on Mopac near 183. The entire project is slated to be done in 2026. Erica Brennis, KXAN News.
And you can take a look at those traffic projects right now over at KXAN.com. An official says at least 38 people died today after a passenger plane headed to Russia crashed in Kazakhstan. As NBC's Kelly Kobiea reports, some passengers survived and were able to walk away from the crash.
Investigators will be combing the wreckage for clues as to why the Azerbaijan Airlines flight went down in Kazakhstan early today on the coast of the Caspian Sea. Authorities in Azerbaijan, Russia, and Kazakhstan have all opened criminal investigations into the crash. Dramatic video appears to show the Embraer 190 trying to make an emergency landing, then bursting into flames and breaking apart. A large part of the fuselage remained intact. Video posted by a Russian state news agency appears to show some of the passengers seemingly able to walk away after the impact. The airline said 67 people were on board, including the 5 crew members. All are from Central Asia and Russia, according to those sources. The plane was en route from the capital of Azerbaijan, Baku, to Grozny, Chechnya, which is in southern Russia. The Russian Aviation Authority says it appears the pilots tried to make an emergency landing after a bird strike. Russian state media also said that flight had been diverted to Kazakhstan due to fog, possibly hitting a flock of birds after that diversion. Kelly Kobiea, NBC News, London.
Well, Russia launched a massive Christmas Day missile and drone barrage targeting Ukraine's energy infrastructure. A thermal power plant was hit, prompting Ukrainians to take shelter in metro stations. Officials said the strikes on Ukrainian fuel and energy sources included 78 air, ground, and sea-launched missiles and more than 100 drones. Ukrainian military officials say they were able to intercept many of the missiles and drones. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky called the strikes inhumane. Today saw the 13th attack on Ukraine's power grid this year. Russia says it shot down nearly 60 Ukrainian drones overnight. In his Christmas message today, Pope Francis called for talks between Ukraine and Russia to end the war that's killed tens of thousands of people. The Pope called for the boldness needed to open the door to negotiation. Francis spoke from the central balcony of the St. Peter's Basilica to thousands of people in the square below. The pontiff also called for an end to conflicts in Lebanon, Haiti, and Venezuela. At 88 years old, this is Francis's 12th Christmas as Pope. Walk just a block off of Georgetown's square with its bustling crowds of shoppers, and you'll find an old livery stable more than 100 years old where time seems to slow down a bit. It's the shop of a master hatter, and that's where KXAN's Tom Miller learned about the time-worn process of hat making.
Oh, this is not just jammed up. The hat blank sits in like so. It clamps down.
Nate Funmaker's blocking machine is like most of the tools in his hat shop.
So this is a 140-year-old French fitter. It's called the Vermilion.
Decades, if not centuries old, and still being used well past its intended lifespan.
This is about a $30,000 press. I just had renovated in July.
The master hatter often buys his equipment secondhand.
This is an order we just finished.
Like his hats, you don't just find this stuff anywhere.
To me, a good hat is not just the quality of it, which I'm 100% about quality, but also making it look like their hat.
To do that, before an iron is ever picked up,
this is Ethan, my son, back here building a hat right now. He's ironing a hat.
Or measurement taken.
So his head measurement is 22 1/4.
Funmaker sits with his potential customer inside his store, Nathaniel's Custom Hats, on these same 2 stools at the front of his store.
We just do what we're doing, me and you are doing. We just sit here and talk. And it's funny how often people think I'm the artist that came up with that. And I did, but I listened to them too. I mainly listened to them. Like whether they were a hiker, fishing, cowboy going to the National Finals Rodeo.
Funmaker considers himself an artist, as do these 150 sellers at Austin's Armadillo Christmas Bazaar.
I think people want to be able to touch and, not everything you can get online or through AI.
At a time when your holiday shopping is often just a click away, the demand for these types of goods, made more slowly, is expected to rise quickly, more than 9% each year.
Everything here seems so well made, with a lot of love and care.
That appeal is seen here too on a rainy weekday morning on the Georgetown Square, where Funmaker struggles to keep up.
We probably have about 300 orders. It's funny, I make a hat, it leaves the door, somebody walks in and orders a hat.
The hats take a full day to make and cost anywhere from $750 for rabbit hair to $2,500 for mink.
They kept saying, what do you want your legacy to be? And I don't like that word myself. I'm like, I said, when I'm gone, if my kids are proud of me, that's all I care about.
A man proudly preserving an art form.
These dents are called mule kicks.
In the shape of a hat. In Georgetown, Tom Miller, KXAN News.
I learned so much just then. That was very interesting. Yeah. Thanks to Tom for putting that together. All right, so Christmas Day, and even if it's kind of mild and maybe even a little warm out there for Christmas, at least it kind of looks like Christmas with the cloudy skies.
We have to be grateful. We remained below normal, not as cold as many of us would have preferred, but at least we hit 60 degrees. Here's a live look out of our 360 Cam Westlake, sponsored by Lorenz and Lorenz. This is the reason why we stayed so much cooler today. But Daniel's right. We wish it could have been just a bit cooler overall. I know a lot of kids were writing in, or when they would come into the studio, is it going to snow for Christmas? Unfortunately, the answer was no, and it looks like this is one of the reasons why. We had all the warmth that had been flowing up. It was just too much of a turnaround, and unfortunately, we didn't get enough of a cold blast to really take us there, even with the front that came through last night. But a beautiful image nonetheless with cloudy skies. This is where we've seen all that cloud coverage pretty much everywhere, from Blanco to Dripping Springs through Metro out towards Round Rock. We're still seeing some cloud coverage out and towards the hill country, just not as much, and you're able to see breaks out there compared to everyone else out towards the east, where it's been pretty much just cloudy overall. The rest of the state of Texas is pretty much the same. Temperatures right now 59 degrees. We've already dropped down a degree out at Camp Mabry. Winds are still calm right now, and for the rest of the night tonight, we're expecting temperatures to remain at about 54 degrees. The clouds are sticking around. They're not going anywhere. We should get a chance of rainfall one more time as we get to early in the morning. Around 4 in the morning, you may see maybe an isolated shower or two, and that should continue. But look, we have another front that's going to come in tomorrow. It's a shallow air mass, and so those are a little harder because sometimes they'll push through real quick and sometimes they don't. And so the models are struggling just a tad to kind of come together to say, okay, well, it's going to arrive at this exact time. But we do know it is going to arrive, and that we are going to have the chance to see possible severe weather one more time. And you're noticing pretty much everything in the same spot from the metro out towards the east of where we could see some stuff pick up. But even as we get to about 2 p.m., 3 p.m., things will pretty much be said and done at this point. So we'll continue to monitor that because that could update as well. But even when you take a wider look, this model pretty much saying the same thing. 9 a.m. Thursday, here comes the front. This one's saying it's going to arrive a little later. Here, 4 p.m. You're noticing some rain chances there, and then it pushes through. So I'm keeping that time frame between 12 and 5 that we have to keep an eye on that and see if we're going to get any of that severe weather in. And you're probably wondering, well, what severe weather? So this is what the Storm Prediction Center is placing of what we could actually see. Low chance of an isolated tornado, especially out towards the metro and into the eastern counties because of what we saw yesterday, especially as you get to Fayette County. Hail, quarter-sized hail one more time is something that we do have to watch. And again, now we're looking at elevated conditions, which is a step up below. So that means that we have a better chance of possibly seeing that, especially out towards the east. Wind, 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts. I'll step out of the way this way, and you see it really only encompasses the very, very eastern portions of the eastern county. So as far as the amount of rainfall, just like what we saw yesterday, if you get the heavy pocket of rainfall, then it's going to be more. But based off of the models and what we've seen, this is what we're looking at, maybe up to an inch of rain, and that's farther out towards the north. Tomorrow's also the first day of Kwanzaa. Temperatures tomorrow should be at around 75 degrees, a bit warm, but we're still going to see some of those thunderstorms, especially out towards the eastern county as the front starts to approach. So the weekend itself, around 78 on Saturday. By the time we get to Sunday, 77, and all the rain chances are gone, and we'll be well above normal. Remember, that's around 63 to 64 around this time of year. I don't see any 60s here. 75 for tomorrow, and 79 as we get into Friday. By Saturday, 78, Sunday, 77, Monday, 81 degrees. I looked up the record for that day, too, by the way. 83 is the record for Monday, just 2 more degrees, and we tie that. And then we have a front that's going to come in. That actually will drive down our temperatures for Tuesday, as we had about 71, and Wednesday, the very first day of the new year, 62 degrees.
On a day of Christmas cheer and goodwill towards your fellow man, one local community is helping those less fortunate get some new clothes for the holidays. Friends Bar on 6th Street hosted a donation drive for people experiencing homelessness. They gathered food, clothing, blankets, items for pets, and also monetary donations.
People plan on it and depend on it each year, and it's a real beautiful thing that's gotten everybody closer.
Looks like they had some food out there too. If you missed today, but you still want to help out, the bar will also be accepting donations anytime during their normal business hours. Over to Ontario, Canada, where a homeowner's Christmas decorations have been delighting adults and children alike, with locals saying the project gets better and better each year. Now, it's nicknamed the Griswold House in reference to National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. The person who posted this video joked that this impressive display actually puts the inspiration to shame. The homeowner started building his display in 2012 with the first show completed in 2015. And the lights aren't just for show. The homeowner also raises money for children battling cancer. Quite the display.